We were putting ideas together, and then we talked about doing like a dance track, like a Latin dance track. And there's quite a famous Latin track called Tequila, which sounds a bit like this. So I started playing around with adding some trumpet to that. Sort of came around, started playing with that idea, and it wasn't really working. And then we think, let's strip it all back and just have it sort of really, really minimal, and sort of build it up, and let's see if we can find some little samples to go with it. So I'd done a sort of documentary called The Science of Sex about sort of sexual attraction and all the biology and stuff, and one of the sequences they had this montage of people saying this.
I've noticed you around. I find you very attractive. Would you go to bed with me?
And all sorts of different people. And I'd done that a couple of years earlier, and I suddenly remembered it. I thought, oh yeah, there's that. I remember that. So it must have stuck in my head. And I went back to dig out the tape, and it was literally like before. You might not even remember the old VHS videotapes that they used to send us to work with the pictures. And I dug that out and plugged it in, and I ran it to this bit. I thought, yeah, that sounds great. So I literally sampled that vocal off the VHS tape, and I started adding it into the over the groove, and then I just sort of built the groove up with a bit of bass.
I find you very attractive.
And it was that made it really sort of work, the hesitancy. And I thought I'll build it up, and then the sort of punchline.
Would you go to bed with me?
I'll just come in with a massive sort of trumpet, huge trumpet thing. So I got this trumpet player up called a mate called Jim, who's really brilliant. And I said, Jim, can you just jam over these chords? So I played him that groove, and I said, just go and just jam, do some jazz riffs over it. So he came up with loads of little jazz riffs like this. So over that 4-bar. So lots of riffs, and then after he'd gone, I listened all the way through. I thought, picked out all his best little riffs, and then I found this one. I thought, this is going to be the mother of all riffs, So I took four of his riffs and made this one mega riff, which was. So it's 4 separate little bits, basically. It's like those 4 bits, and so you play them together, and you get that one riff. And I thought, that's working really well. So I put that over the chords. I thought, yeah, that's working great, And I thought but it still sounded a little bit like not edgy enough. So I changed the background chords to that, which is sort of minor chords, and then add it. So it makes a heck of a difference, and it just sort of like nailed it for me. And I thought, well, there you go, that's working. And so then I played that to my record company guy Charlie, and with all the.
Would you go to bed with me?
And he just went, congratulations, you've just got your first top 10 single there. It was like, wow, really? And he said, yeah, it's definitely, that has definitely got something. And so then he went out, and it's obviously, you need somebody to champion it, and he was brilliant. And he just went out and just saw loads of people, and eventually got a record deal with V2 Records. And yeah, so 9-10 months later after writing it, it got to number 3 in the charts, which was an amazing experience.